everyone. Welcome back for learning. Today in this video we will talk about financial crisis this world has witnessed in last century. 20th and 21st centuries have witnessed several significant financial crises around the world, each with its unique causes and consequences. It is impossible to provide an exhaustive analysis of each crisis, so, therefore, for your knowledge and information, we are making a series covering all the major events happened in financial world since the start of last century. In this video we have tried to summarize all the events so that you know what to expect in the following series. If there is any specific event you want us to cover, you may write to us in the comment section. So now I will not take much of your time and start talking about the various events. The first major financial crisis of the last century happened in 1907, referred as Panic of 1907, which is also known as the Bankers' Panic. This financial crisis was caused by a series of bank runs and a lack of a central banking system in the United States. Bank run, does it mean that banks started to run? Just kidding. The bank run is a situation where a large number of depositors withdraw funds from a bank due to fears of insolvency, potentially causing financial instability. Every crisis has given mankind a lesson. Learning of this crisis was to have a central authority. Hence, this crisis ultimately led to the creation of the Federal Reserve System in 1913 to stabilize the financial system. Second major crisis occurred in 1929. Known as Great Depression, this crisis happened between 1929 and 1933. The stock market crash of 1929 triggered a global economic crisis, resulting in widespread unemployment, bank failures, and severe deflation. The response included the New Deal policies in the United States and marked a shift toward more significant government intervention in the economy. First crisis for millennials is called savings and loan crisis. This crisis stayed throughout the 80s and early 90s. This crisis resulted from the mismanagement of savings and loan associations in the United States, which were underinsured and took excessive risks. It resulted in the collapse of many institutions, costing taxpayers billions of dollars. Few of the institutions collapsed are Lincoln Savings and Loan Association, American Continental Corporation, Columbia Savings and Loan, and Silverado Savings and Loan. Total estimated loss during this crisis was $407 billion American dollars. After the crisis in North America and Europe during 80s and early 90s, in 1997 financial crisis reared in the Asian markets. Here it comes the Asian financial crisis. It was a currency crisis that began in Thailand and then spread to other major Asian countries. It was driven by excessive lending, currency pegs, and speculative attacks on national currencies. The International Monetary Fund, IMF, played a role in stabilizing the situation, but the crisis had long-lasting economic consequences in the region. After the boom of information technology, then came the dot-com bubble in 2000, which lasted till 2022. This crisis was driven by the collapse of the technology stock market bubble. Many internet companies with high valuations saw their stock prices plummet, leading to significant losses for investors. Few of the major losers were Pets.com, Webvan and eToys. During this crisis, investor roughly lost $5 trillion. Then it comes the turn of famous global financial crisis, which started in 2007 and continued through 2008. This was the most significant financial crisis since the Great Depression. It was triggered by the subprime mortgage crisis in the United States. This crisis led to a global banking crisis, a severe recession, and a subsequent global economic downturn. Governments around the world intervened with significant stimulus packages and regulatory reforms. A lot of you must be wondering, what was subprime mortgage? Subprime mortgages are high-risk loans extended to borrowers with poor credit. During this crisis, $7.4 trillion in stock market paper were lost. About $3.4 billion in real estate wealth was wiped out. Many companies went bankrupt, and about 7.5 million Americans lost jobs. After Asia and North America, here comes European debt crisis in 2010. This crisis originated in Greece and spread to other Eurozone countries. It was driven by excessive government debt, lack of fiscal discipline, and concerns about the viability of the euro currency. Several countries required bailouts, and the crisis led to austerity measures and political tensions. Latest crisis we all witness was due to COVID-19 pandemic. 2020 the global economy experienced a sudden and severe recession due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Lockdowns and reduced economic activity resulted in job losses and economic contractions in many countries. Government interventions and massive stimulus packages were implemented to mitigate the economic impact. One fun fact about this crisis, about which a lot of people are unaware, in May 2020 future contracts for oil went below zero, theoretically, which means that oil was not free. In fact, the suppliers were willing to pay to the buyers to buy oil to minimize their storage cost. Isn't it funny, guys? Financial crises are often the result of a combination of factors, including speculative bubbles, financial market imbalances, regulatory failures, and economic shocks. Responses to these crises have varied, with governments and central banks taking measures such as interest rate adjustments, stimulus packages, bank bailouts, and regulatory reforms to stabilize the financial system and restore economic growth. It's important to note that understanding the causes, responses, and outcomes of financial crises is crucial for policymakers, economists, and investors to better prepare for and mitigate the impact of future crises. Each crisis offers lessons for how to strengthen financial systems and protect against systemic risks. Through this series, we intend to highlight the cause and effect of all the crises and try to learn and prepare ourselves for future challenges. Please support this journey of spreading knowledge and education by liking and subscribing to the channel. God bless you all and keep smiling.